Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We are taking the brilliant insights of astrophysicist Brian Cox and using them to mentally render the ultimate realistic video. We're going to build a visual funnel from the very edge of the known universe right down to the fundamental meaning of our own existence. We're zooming through the absolute extremes of space, time, and biology. So buckle up. Now, it's the ultimate human question, isn't it? What is our place in all of this? Well, to answer that, we really have to start by zooming our camera way, way out. Because to truly grasp our place, we essentially need to render a completely realistic video of the universe in our minds, starting with the absolute widest lens possible.
Part 1. Our place in the universe.
Let's start our rendering right here. Just look at those zeros. That is 2 trillion. 2 trillion. And according to the data, that's the staggering number of entire galaxies swirling out there in the dark, observable universe. It's a number so ridiculously large, our brains honestly aren't wired to comprehend it.
Okay, let's zoom our cosmic camera in a bit, down to our specific galactic zip code, the Milky Way. Now, our home galaxy alone contains roughly 200 billion individual stars. And this is exactly where things start to get really fascinating for us.
Because out of those 200 billion stars in the Milky Way, current estimates show there are about 20 billion potentially Earth-like planets. Just in our galaxy. Think about that. That is 20 billion rocky worlds that could potentially harbor the exact conditions for life. That's the massive, sprawling framework of our existence.
Part 2. Inside a black hole.
You know, the universe isn't just vast, it's incredibly violent. And absolutely nothing is more extreme than a massive, dying star collapsing into a point of infinite density. Now, if you cross this boundary, what we call the event horizon, the laws of physics as you know them just break. They change forever. Nothing, literally not even light itself, can escape once it crosses this one-way threshold. So on Earth, we're moving inexorably toward tomorrow, right? You can't stop tomorrow from coming, no matter how hard you try. But cross an event horizon, and time and space actually flip. Inside a black hole, your unavoidable tomorrow, your absolute future, is simply the singularity at the center. Every single line of your future points strictly inward. There is no way out.
Let's try to wrap our heads around how massive these things actually are. To put that mass into perspective, imagine taking our sun, which, by the way, can fit 1 million Earths inside it, and squashing it all down into a tiny 2-mile radius. That creates a black hole. Now, multiply that immense squashed mass up to the size of the black hole in the M87 galaxy. That monster is 6 billion times the mass of our sun. Its radius is physically larger than our entire solar system.
And what's totally wild is that Albert Einstein predicted exactly what this would look like all the way back in 1915. And then, just a few years ago, groundbreaking radio telescope photographs finally proved it. What we're seeing is actually a flat accretion disk of orbiting material, kind of like Saturn's rings. The black hole's gravity is so intense it literally bends the light from the back of that flat disk right around the void so we can actually see it. It's like nature's own crazy visual effect.
Part 3. Exploring and expanding to Mars. From the terrifying edges of event horizons, let's jump our camera back to our own, relatively calm solar system. Because as vast as the universe is, we are currently stuck on just one single rock. Now, we've already industrialized near-Earth orbit with GPS, weather, and communication satellites. It's a massive, multi-billion-dollar industry. But now, with the advent of reusable rocket technology from companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin, working off-planet is rapidly moving from a science fiction dream to a very sensible economic reality.
Think about the sheer volume of resources floating just above our heads. Jeff Bezos actually pointed out once that the asteroid belt contains enough metal to build an 800-story skyscraper that could entirely cover the Earth. With immense solar energy and basically unlimited resources up there, we could eventually zone Earth strictly for residential living in nature and push all our heavy, polluting industry straight into space.
But here's the catch. To expand as a civilization, we need a physical frontier, and Earth is running out of room. So, where do we go? Well, we can't go to Venus. It's literally a 400-degree toxic oven with 90 times our atmospheric pressure. Jupiter and Saturn, they're basically just giant balls of gas. So Mars really stands alone as our only viable option. It has a confirmed history of oceans and rivers, it has ice, possibly underground liquid water, and all the required minerals to actually sustain us.
Which brings us to the absolute holy grail of space exploration, this exact chemical pipeline, going from a cooling rock to geochemistry, to complex carbon chemistry, and finally to biochemistry and life, happened right here on Earth. So science's greatest quest today is testing if this exact same pipeline happened in the ancient hydrothermal vents on Mars almost 4 billion years ago. If geochemistry becomes biochemistry there too, wow, it means life is basically a universal standard.
Part 4. Our lucky solar system.
But listen, having the right chemistry is only half the battle. Complex life requires long-term planetary stability, and that requires an unbelievable amount of sheer luck. When astrophysicists run standard computer models of star systems forming, they almost never produce a setup like ours. 4 neat rocky planets close to the sun and 4 massive gas giants further out. Gas giants usually just destroy everything in their path. Which brings us to a really wild yet widely respected planetary model known as the Grand Tack theory.
Here's what they actually think happened. Billions of years ago, a massive gas giant, Jupiter, formed and naturally began migrating inward toward the sun, as gas giants tend to do. It drifted dangerously close to where Earth is, acting like a giant cosmic vacuum, clearing out the dust around Mars and starving it of materials. But just before Jupiter could wreck our orbit entirely, a newly formed Saturn migrated in. Saturn's gravity hooked Jupiter, and remarkably, they dragged each other back outward to where they sit today.
The chances of that intricate gravitational dance happening perfectly? Microscopic. It proves just how incredibly lucky we are. For a civilization to evolve from basic biochemistry into beings that can actually build rockets, you need an unbroken chain of unusual planetary stability spanning billions of years. We literally won the ultimate cosmic lottery.
Part 5. The meaning of it all.
So we've scaled all the way down from 2 trillion galaxies to our incredibly lucky little rock. How do we even make sense of our place in a universe this massive? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the second law of thermodynamics. The basic physics of the universe dictate that we started at the Big Bang in an extremely ordered state, and everything is continuously tending toward disorder and decay. The laws of physics strictly forbid immortality. Everything fades.
Now, this offers a massive paradigm shift. You might think decay is a bad thing, right? But it is precisely in this process of going from order to disorder that complexity naturally emerges. Stars, planets, life, entire civilizations, these brilliant flashpoints happen because the universe is decaying, not in spite of it. This very decay is the exact mechanism that allows brief moments of magnificent complexity to spontaneously happen.
We are, quite literally, made of stardust. We are rare clusters of atoms forged in the crushing hearts of long-dead stars over billions of years. We've assembled into these temporary, incredibly complex structures that are suddenly capable of looking back up at the sky, capable of thinking, feeling, and exploring. We are granted this finite little window to observe this vast cosmos before we too decay and fade away.
People often ask what the meaning of life is, or they say they want something eternal. But knowing the sheer scale, knowing you are a miraculous, conscious piece of the universe allowed to exist against all odds, well, it leaves us contemplating this beautiful, final question. You have a front row seat to the greatest, most realistic video ever rendered. Reality itself, the cosmos. Why do you want any more? Thank you for exploring the universe with me today.